Hi, I'm Miss Ashley, and if you've ever been confused about how to use the slope formula, in this video, I am going to walk you through how to find slope given 2 points step by step. First, we're going to talk about what is slope, then how to find it given 2 points. I'm going to walk you through an example step by step, and then I'm going to talk about common mistakes I see that students make when they're working on these types of problems. And then lastly, I'm going to walk through another example that uses a negative value. So what is slope? Slope shows rate of change. And basically it's how steep, if you're looking at a graph, it's how steep the line is. And an important thing to remember is slope is rise over run. So it's how far up or down you're going. So how far up or down on the y-axis, and then how far horizontally on the x-axis you're going. So rise divided by run. And this is the slope formula. So it is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And that's going to give you your slope. And I have 2 points at the bottom that shows the x values and the y values. So the first point is x1 comma y1. And then the second point is going to be x2 comma y2. And don't worry, we're going to go through a couple examples that will help you understand how to do this. Let's do our first example. For our first example, we have 0.2 comma 3 and then 0.6 comma 11. So the first thing you're going to do, step 1, is identify which point is 0.1 and which point is 0.2. I've decided to do 6 comma 11 as 0.2. So I put that in purple here. And I usually pick the point with the higher values to be the second point, but it really doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer no matter which point is 0.1 and which point is 0.2. Step 2 is to identify y2 and y1. So looking at our 2 points, we know that 6 comma 11 is 0.2. So we're going to find the y value of that point. So the y value of 0.2 is 11, and the y value of 0.1, and 0.1 is 2, 3. The y value of 0.1 is going to be 3. So I have those in bold here so you can really see them. Step 3 is to plug the y values into the slope formula. So I've done that here. So y2 is 11 and y1 is 3. So we went ahead and plugged in 11 minus 3 on the top part of the equation. Step 4 is to evaluate, or not evaluate, but identify x2 and x1. So I went ahead and bolded them. So x2 is going to be the x value of 0.2, which is 6. And then x1 is going to be the x value of 0.1, which is 2. Step 5 is to go ahead and plug those x values into the formula. So I went ahead and plugged in 6 minus 2. And then the last step is to solve the equation. 11 minus 3 is 8, and then 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have 8 on the top and 4 on the bottom, 8 over 4. And then, of course, that simplifies to 2. So the slope for this example is 2. And again, if we would have made 6, 11 our 0.1, the answer still would have been 2. So no matter which point is 0.1 versus 0.2, the answer is going to be the same. Some common mistakes I see from students who are doing this kind of math is mixing up x and y. So remember, if you have a point like 1 comma 5, the x value is the first number and the y value is the second number. So for the point 1 comma 5, 1 is going to be the x value and 5 is going to be the y value. Another mistake that sometimes I see is changing the order halfway through. So remember which point is 0.2 and which point is 0.1, because that needs to be consistent with both the x values and the y values. And then the last common mistakes I see are forgetting the negative signs or doing the negative math a little wrong. This is really common. So remember, if you're subtracting a negative value, that changes it to adding it. And then just remember that when you are doing for example, -5 minus 2, that answer is going to be -7. Or if you have 3 minus -2, that's going to equal +5. So remember your rules for when you're adding and subtracting negative values. All right, the last thing we're going to do in today's video is another example. And in this example, I've included a negative number. So we have 0.1, or we have 1, 5, and then 4, -1 as our 2 points. So step 1, identify which point we want to be as 0.1 and which point we want to be as 0.2. So I have chosen 4, -1 to be 0.2, and I've put that in green so it's easier to see and keep track of. Step 2, evaluate and identify y2 and y1. So looking at our 2 points, our second point, point number 2, is 4, -1, and the y value of that is -1. Looking at point 1, which is 1, 5, the y value of that is going to be 5. Step 3, plug the y values into the formula. So I went ahead and put -1 minus 5 as the top part to our equation. Step 4, identify x2 and x1. So looking at our 2 points, point 2 is 4, -1, and the x value of that point is going to be 4. For point 1, which is the 1, 5, the one in black, our x value is the first number, again, which is that 1. So I've put those two numbers in bold to make it easier to see. Step 5 is to plug the x values into the formula. So I went ahead and plugged in x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 1. And lastly, we are going to solve our equation. So -1 minus 5 equals -6, and then 4 minus 1 equals 3. So that gives us -6 over 3, and that is going to equal -2. All right, thank you everyone for watching my video. I really hope it helped. And if you have any other topics you want to hear about or questions in math or science, please let me know. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to learn about next, and I will be happy to make a video about it. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.